Oh, there's a nice little countdown on the screen.
Oh yeah, you've never seen? Oh yeah, no, I get the countdown all the time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Huh.
yeah. See,
Alrighty.
levels.
All right, levels,
I,
levels.
I don't have any levels. Are my levels okay?
Yes, they look good.
Okay, fantastic. Then let's get going. I don't have a ton of time here.
Okay, okay. Hey, quick question. What's that background noise I can hear?
I'm in DIA. I'm in the Denver airport. I just got off my flight from Irvine, and my plane in Des Moines leaves in a couple hours, maybe less, maybe. It's Southwest. You never know. But we got to get this in, so let's get going.
Okay, okay. All right, so let's get this started.
Yep, anytime now.
Yep, yeah, yep. Anytime. Yeah, go
Uh
ahead.
huh.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yep, anytime.
So
Ready to go.
so listen, are you like we can cut this out, but are you going to play the theme here or do I just keep vamping poorly for a while?
I'm in the airport. Who's got the buttons for the show? Think
The
about that.
buttons. Wait, what do you mean? Oh. Oh, these buttons.
Hi, toddlers. Welcome to Talking to Todd, a weekly podcast with Dwayne Johnson and Todd Friends, where failure and background noise is always an option. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Todd.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm here. How are you?
I mean, you're somewhere,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, there's that. So yeah.
Can I reiterate? I don't want to put this in travel stories. Can I reiterate? I do not like flying through the Denver airport. I mean, it's it's perfectly fine. It's the bumping on the way in and the bumpy on the way out. And there's just too much wind and too much bumping around going on up in the air for my comfort level. And I know it's fine. I was on a Boeing. I know it's fine. I think it's fine.
Welcome to Southwest Airlines. Our goal this flight is to get you there safely with 98% of the parts that the plane departed with. Okay, so you say that. I will just say today over my lunch hour. Okay, this is Todd being an av geek. Today, however, I have Flight Radar 24, and occasionally I just pop it open and it says like, is there who's watching? It's how many people are watching flights because there's something interesting going on. And today there was something interesting going on, and it was all centered around Heathrow. And I was like, that's weird. So I just go look up at Heathrow and well, that plane has made more than one approach, and that plane has made more than one approach. And I'm like, I wonder what's going on there. And because it's Heathrow, there is usually one, if not more, people live streaming from Heathrow showing planes landing or taking off. Why do I know this? Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. So I pull up Big Jet Air or something. Anyway, what you then see is all the planes coming in, including the double decker A380s. They're coming in at a 45-degree angle to the runway because of crosswinds. So they are all having to come in with the nose pointed 45 degrees towards 9 o'clock. So if the runway's at 12, their nose is pointed at about 9 o'clock as they're coming in. And then right when they get low enough, they have to snap the plane around and drop it. And that's what you do in crosswind landings. Every plane was having to do that. Some were doing it successfully, some were not. And non-successful means wave off, go around. And the guy who was commentating was like, it's funny because the people that do this, they have to have a lot of personality. So you watch their channel. So you're hearing, come on, boy, get that. Come on, in an English accent. Oh, that was close. Like, by the way, if you don't like flying in bumpy weather, do not watch these channels. Do not, like,
Do
do
nope.
not. Anyway, so Most days I'd be like, that sounds terrible. Today, you're at the good place.
Yeah. You said don't ask questions that you don't want the answers to.
Yes.
I didn't ask that question, and I didn't
No.
want the answer to it.
No.
So
No.
I mean,
That's a bonus episode.
you tried to warn me off, and yet
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of things that people didn't want to listen to, should we get to follow up?
Yeah. How about that? Yeah,
um,
we got some.
yeah, we got some from Lisa in the episode where you were very happy that Drake made the tournament. Yeah.
Yes.
Lisa's comment to me was, listen, 2 or 3 times might be funny. It's not funny, but it might be funny. Okay. The 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th times, I'm like, it's a bit. She goes, it's really not. It's not. It's not working. You should have not done this.
It's a thing. It's not a bit.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Well, it was barely a thing.
It was well,
it was an annoying thing, apparently.
it was,
So
yes, because Amy gave us the same feedback. Me particularly. You were bit adjacent. Yeah.
noted. Yeah.
Yeah.
That note we will take from the network.
Yep.
Yes.
We got that. Other stuff from Lisa.
That was the big one. That was the one that overrode all
That
the
was
rest, I believe.
Amy got caught up. She was 2 weeks behind. Listened at the office, and it took her twice as long to listen because she had to keep pausing it to go to meetings.
She's listening at 1.5 times speed, but it takes twice as long because of meetings. There's a weird math thing. Like even Einstein couldn't have figured that one out. Like, wait, no, you speed up, but you slow down and then you pause, and then anyway, she caught up. She's got caught up.
The Arch Madness stuff didn't age well, particularly. Um, I guess that's a correction.
Okay. See, the problem is
Actually,
you point as if I know which thing you want.
Hit the yeah, that's a correction. I tried to lead you there with the never mind. Todd's producing this.
I don't know what's he talking about. I'm going to be interested to see what sound effect plays. Oh,
Yeah, Todd's producing this week. Buckle up, toddlers. Let's see. So yes, the Arch Madness stuff didn't age well, and especially since the Bulldogs A lost in the first round,
yes.
and B then lost their coach and their entire roster.
So good enough to make the tournament and have every school in America, have every player, every person associated with the team wanted by other teams, but not quite good enough to win in the tournament.
We'll find out if these players are wanted by other teams. At the very minimum, Darren DeVries is wanted in West Virginia, and his son is going along with. I don't know about the rest of them. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, more on that later, I think. Though I promise I won't make this an all Drake podcast.
I will say there is an argument that could be made. I'm not going to make it, but there is an argument that could be made that had Drake made it all the way to the Final Four, there would have been 3 weeks where you got to crow about them making it.
Yeah.
But because the likelihood of them making it to the Final Four in 3 weeks was slim, you took 3 weeks of content and you put it into 1 week just in case they didn't make it.
Had to get it in. I was going to get it in one way or the other. There you go.
Cop told me speed limit was 60 miles an hour. I said I wasn't going to be out that long.
Thanks, Steve. Amy loves Danny's attention to detail. He picked up that I gave away the answer to Todd Ought to Know in the first 2 minutes of the show itself.
Yes.
Peek behind the curtain there, toddlers. We recorded Todd Ought to Know the following day. I can't remember what I said a week ago. I can barely remember what I said a day ago, and clearly I had forgotten that.
As had I.
It's as had you. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But Danny did not miss it. And that kind of attention to detail is why he manages our money.
Should also be why he should be managing Shohei Ohtani's money.
Somebody should.
You could bet on it.
You could. Amy had another correction.
Oh.
Actually,
We said the Fighting Illini was a human mascot. Actually, they have no mascot. They're called the Fighting Illini, but they have no mascot. They're still going to lose in the Bulldog pool because then they have no mascot.
Yeah. Although we should have thought about that because realistically, Fighting Illini, mascot or no mascot's probably the right way to go there.
Also, the title of that the title of that episode should have been "Fur Over Feathers."
That would have been good. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Yvonne sent some feedback where she also had alternative show titles.
Yeah. Yep. So she's been out of the country, so she was just catching up on 3 episodes of Walking to Todd. And let's see, in episode 210, she believes that the show title should have been entitled "Did Your Coxswain Fall Overboard?" Best comeback ever to "We Have Accruing Issues." Episode 212, this episode could have been named "Our Rules Are Clear" or "This Is Just Science." Both in reference to the bracket and the elicited literal laugh out loud. Also, she did say when we were discussing the difference between, I believe it was a town and a village, and you said it had to do with the number of aldermen versus council. Anyway,
that's that's the law in Illinois.
Yes,
that's how it's defined in law in Illinois.
Yes,
for the record.
Yvonne points out that she says she said, "I asked my Uncle Ken years ago what the definition of a village was, assuming he'd know, as he'd lived in an English village his entire life. Turns out it has nothing to do with councilmen or aldermen. Quote, a village has at least 7 houses, a church, and a pub." Quoted verbatim.
We sit corrected.
She also wanted to let us know, she also sent a thanks for not including them in the pool of neighbors we don't want to meet.
That's a neighbor I would actually like to meet at some point. We need a Talking to Todd meetup.
At the undisclosed location, we could certainly do that.
Yes. I mean, nobody could find it because it's undisclosed, but, you know.
Except for Don and Yvonne.
Yes. Yeah, they know.
Yeah. Although that could certainly be a, hey, by the way, there's a meetup. If you want to know the undisclosed location, you got to join the meetup.
You register? No, we don't do that. No, that'd be way too organized. What else we got?
I think that is it. Those also covered the actually. So I think we're on to follow up. Oh, you wanted to. I think we've kind of covered this. The Bulldog bracket. Oh, the Bulldog. So Drake didn't have the Drake Bulldog bracket didn't go very well, but the Bulldog bracket in Talking to Todd also didn't have a great weekend.
No, it didn't. I mean, Gonzaga is alive.
Yes.
We got Yale right.
Yes.
We didn't get a whole lot else right.
There was a lot of Bulldog underperforming, if we're honest.
Well, if you've seen the pictures of Griff at games, I mean, there are times when he's active. There are other times when he is sound asleep during the game. So I think we got that version of the Bulldog. Then,
well, I'm just saying, I believe the Bulldog bracket had Drake against, I think, Mississippi State, and Mississippi State also went out in
the first round.
Yeah. On the other hand, for a while, that bracket was not dead last.
It's true.
And
good work, Nate.
And I also believe, I'm trying to do this from memory from last weekend. I think after the first round, I think the Bulldog bracket got 18 picks of the 32 games right in the first round. And if that's the case, I'm just going to point out, I'm pretty sure that a 50-50 chance over 32 games, you would win half and you would lose half. So, as stupid as this bracket is, it did better. It actually did better at predicting games than flipping a coin.
So far, 22 picks correct. Uh, it is dead last by quite a wide margin. Um, yeah. Uh, if you're curious, um, my Aunt Marcia is in first place. Susan Slocum and Chad Hippen and Zach Smith are tied for second. In fifth place, our buddy Chris Searles
Hey, Chris.
and John Brown, who has a toddler number, but I can't remember what it is. It has something to do with the University of Iowa.
I believe what you're looking for is 1881.
Oh, that's the year Drake was founded. Hey, another Drake reference on the podcast. Go figure. Followed by me and Amy and Doug Wilkinson. All three of us tied in seventh place. And rounding out your top 10, too many people to name. So there's your weekly recap. Oh,
Oh, and then I don't know, Todd's in there somewhere. Oh wait,
you're
I'm not even
12th.
in the top 10. I'm not
You're
even in
not
the
even
top
in.
10.
You're not. No, you're not even in the top 10. But
That
you are
15
tied
minute
for 12th with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other people, including Danny.
Those 15 minutes when I was in first place was a glorious 15 minutes.
It was beautiful.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah. A couple of other pieces of follow up. By the way, we've covered the problems that the Golden Globes have had. They're back. They
oh,
signed a 5-year deal with CBS, which makes a lot of sense because if you're thinking who watches award shows anymore, the Venn diagram of award show watchers and CBS people really pretty much overlap. So, congratulations to them, I guess. And speaking of new deals, the MLS referees also came to a new deal, and they'll be the ones blowing the calls, I think, this weekend. So, congratulations to them.
I read an article interviewing a fan after this happened, and um, the fan said that the replacement. We realize, um, we recognize that the officiating is bad, but the replacement refs are worse than the people that are coming back. So um, now, don't get me wrong. That's not going to stop me from yelling at the original refs when they come back.
Yeah, yeah.
But we do recognize that it could be worse than it is, and I wasn't exactly sure how that was possible. But yet, there you are.
So in other words, booing, yelling, "You suck," "You can't see." I mean, all that regular stuff. The one thing you cannot that they've proven though is if you yell, "You're the worst referee out there," everybody's like, "Hey, hey, 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 no, 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 no. We've seen worse. We've seen better, but we have technically
We,
seen worse."
yes, right. I've got one. Did you see that the M3 Mac fails in the dual monitor mode? If you put it in a clamshell and try to run 2 monitors, the performance takes a nosedive. So while you can do it, perhaps you shouldn't.
Yeah, my thought is that is somebody at Apple going, "Oh, oh, oh, you want this? You want this? There's a reason why we told you not to do it before."
But hey,
But
you want
okay,
it. Oh
you
yeah,
want
hey,
you
you asked
okay,
for it.
here you go.
Yeah.
You didn't ask for monitor open or lid closed performance up there. Look, these things don't even have fans. I don't know what you want from us.
You're going to need to be a little more specific in your request and your complaint.
That kind of feels like we sort of slid right in from it was both follow up and Todd's Tech Corner presented by Taylor Center for Technology Policy. One other Apple related thing, and I just I wanted to share this because I think this is just like we talk about that you need to update. We talk about problems, getting locked out of your phone or whatever, and you're like, man, technology's hard. Technology is difficult even for technology companies. Earlier this month, Apple pushed out a firmware to all of their firmware update to all of their AirTags. So the
Okay.
little air tags all have firmware, and the phone updates them. And what Apple does when they release it is they don't want all the air tags to all update at once, because that would put a big strain on the system. So they release it, and there's some code that basically like puts out like 10 or 15% a day, and then it goes through for a week or two until it's all done to kind of level it all out. Somebody noticed though this week that all AirTags basically updated on the same day. And they thought that's really weird. So the first thing you're thinking of is, holy cow, did they find a really dangerous bug that yeah.
Yeah. No?
Nope. Turns out somebody in Apple, the one person in Apple who gets it all ready to go, there is a date field in the date to be released. And when you put the date in, the system then calculates 10% or 15% or whatever. So I don't know exactly what the date was, but let's assume that it was March 15th. They entered 3/15/24. The problem is what they needed to enter was 3/15/2024. Had they entered 2024, it would have said that's the day you start releasing. And there's some sort of code in there that after you do, if you haven't done it after, let's say, 2 weeks, update them all. When they entered 3/15/24, the system read that as this patch should have been released in the year 24. Therefore, they had missed the window. Update everything now.
You only missed the window by 2,000 years. Time to go.
Yeah. We got to get this out. So updates are hard.
Yes.
And I also believe that somewhere there is going to be a software engineer who is updating a site to either require, like, look, you can fix this a couple of ways. You can either require 4 digits and disregard 2 digits. Like or you can sanitize the inputs, you can normalize the inputs, or you can just refuse the inputs. Whatever, there's lots of ways of fixing it. But anyway, congratulations to Apple. Can you imagine the guy's like, I don't know, this is what I entered. Oh God, this is why we don't let Todd produce the AirTags updates. God, the wrong button, dude.
What's next? You're producing this week. What's next on the list?
Well, this is supposed to be a Todd ought to know this week.
Yeah.
But I have full control of the show as producer. And so I think instead of Todd ought to know,
For the record, playing the wrong theme doesn't stop us from doing the right segment, but you go.
that's right. It's time for America's second favorite game. Dwayne, guess a number.
Okay, hit me.
A bonus. Dwayne, guess a number. Brought to you by Southwest Airline. Would you like to spend a couple of down hours in the Denver airport for no apparent reason? Fly Southwest. All right.
Yep. This segment brought to you by Dwayne's travel schedule.
Dwayne's travel schedule. Can we afford a direct flight? No, we can't.
No.
Okay. Okay. So this comes to us. This is Dwayne guess a number from Danny. And Danny, we believe Danny knows numbers.
Oh, thanks, Danny. Okay.
Yeah. So he sent this to me and he's like, this would be a good one. So he sent me a link from an article that says, how many trees are in the world? So it turns out that there are some people that are going out and trying to figure out, using satellite data and all sorts of stuff. Nobody's doing this individually. They're trying to figure out how many trees exist on the planet. Okay. So Dwayne, This is the one that there's a bunch in here, but he suggested this one. Our neighbors up north in Canada, lots of space, lots of trees. Dewayne, based off of this estimate that you've never seen, that may or may not be accurate, roughly how many trees does Canada have?
Can we define tree? I mean, tree, like anything.
A tree species, whether it is a small sapling or it is full grown.
Okay, so we're gonna count to do. The life of a tree begins when. No, sorry, don't play the other theme. We don't need to go there. Um,
Okay.
if a tree joke fails on a podcast and nobody laughs, was it?
It's on our podcast, is
It's
what
on
that
our.
means.
That's
Yeah.
yes. Odds
Yeah.
are that's where it's going.
Yeah.
Um, more trees than people, I have to guess.
That would be accurate.
25 million trees? Hell if I know.
Okay. All right. Let me give you, okay, you're just nowhere close. Like you're not even normal Dewayne off. Like you can't see Dewayne off from where you are.
Low?
Oh yes. So let me
Okay.
give you this. The estimate that this site is using is that the world's tree population is approximately 3 trillion.
It's approximate because you can't count them in. It's like trying to paint the Golden Gate Bridge. As soon as you're done painting it, you got to start over painting
We
it
don't
again.
have we're pushing 8 billion people. We don't have time to count 3 trillion trees. Okay, so if the entire population of trees in the world is estimated at 3 trillion, what would Canada account for?
Okay. And you got to balance, like Vancouver with the parts way north where there aren't any trees because it's just ice. And it's more than 25 million. I don't know, 25 billion
Well, okay, you've at least got the right
letter?
you've at least got the right letter. According to this, Canada has roughly 318 billion trees. Canada's forests account for 30% of the entire world's forests. And the trees cover, to your point, the trees cover 40% of the country. So there's 60% of the country that isn't like heavily forested. And in the 40% of they have 30% of the world's trees.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nope, that was a fail by me. Nobel. I wonder,
Yes.
maybe Greg will start sponsoring the Nobel Prize again.
On the other hand, Danny, that's a good number, bud.
Nice work. Good work
Yeah.
out of Danny.
Yeah.
Bell for Danny. There you go.
Well, hold on. Just be
You
clear, that was for Danny.
that not for me. To be clear, you need to either produce more or produce less.
Yeah. Yes.
We need you to do this more often or fewer than the 2 times that you've done it. To be fair, 1.5 at this point, hopefully.
Yeah. I think what would really help my producing is because there's 10 buttons, but I can only see 7 of them because of the size of my browser. Yes, but if I make my window bigger, then I can't see the rundown. What I need is probably another studio display, and then that could have all of my. I just write that off. I need. Why do you need another monitor? Buttons. Anyway, okay. So, we did. By the way, okay, we can swing back to get that. So, that was Dwayne Guess a Number. Do we have a Money or Nazis segment for America's favorite game this week?
Last week you said, and I'm quoting here, I had to go look it up, money or Nazis, and it's college sports, so it's money.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Ralph?
Um, I lived in a college fraternity for 2 years, so yeah, I know I know all about the Ralph. Wait, are you thinking of something else?
I am thinking of something else. Um, Ralph Louis Ingolstad. Are you familiar with Ralph Ingolstad? He was an American businessman who owned the Imperial Palace Casino in Las Vegas and in Biloxi, Mississippi. He also owned the Konakai Motel in Las Vegas. Again, quick sidelight. Vegas, not
Not
Vegas?
not Vegas.
Not Vegas, right? Neither one of those, right? Um, and he was the donor for the construction of the $104 million Ralph Ingolstadt Arena, his alma mater, at the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, North Dakota. They call that building
Oh God.
the Ralph.
Oh, oh, as soon as you said University of North Dakota, I don't know the facts of this, but all of a sudden I'm like, I remember something about this.
For the record, he was also one of the co-developers of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway until he sold that. Um, then when you scroll down through his Wikipedia page,
Yeah.
you get to a section called Nazi controversy.
And just to be clear, not every person's Wikipedia entries has a header that says Nazi controversy. It's not like personal life, career, early years, Nazi controversy.
You don't find that on Mariah Carey's page. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, hold on,
Oh, hold on,
give
check
me a
that.
couple minutes.
But at one point in his life, he had a collection of Nazi memorabilia stored in a private room, which he referred to as his war room within the Imperial Palace Hotel Casino. After discovery of the memorabilia, he agreed to sell it all rather than put it on display. Wanted to put it on display. In an apology letter to the Jewish Federation of Las Vegas, I now feel I have done what I can and apologize for what I cannot do. By the way, in and amongst all the rest of these things, they found a printing plate to be able to manufacture bumper stickers that said Hitler was right. And he hosted Hitler birthday parties in 1986 and 1988. Now, all of this in response to you saying it's college sports, so it has to be money. I submit to you there are times when in college sports it could be Nazis.
What I thought you were going to tell me, I thought you were going to set this up to be a little bit more difficult, which is once he sold his entire collection to Harlan Crow,
Oh,
what did he do with the money? That is the money that then founded the stadium. So Todd, ooh, I don't know. It's money. It's definitely money, but it came from the sale.
yeah, I want to cover our butt here. We don't know for certain that the memorabilia wasn't sold to Harlan Crow,
We don't know for certain it was.
but we don't know that it wasn't.
We're just asking.
We're just asking the question.
Oh, jeez. Oh my God. This.
Just putting it out there.
I would say this though. I'm gonna push back just a little bit because I do try to
Okay.
find on some of these.
Yeah.
When given the choice, however, let's be real clear. He had money, obviously, because he had the hotels, and he also had his beloved Nazi memorabilia. So it was money and Nazis. When the Nazi memorabilia was found out, he faced a choice. He could keep his Nazi stuff or he could keep his money. So he literally had to play money or Nazis.
Truly a Sophie's choice if there ever was one.
I I think that hits a little too close to home in this case. So let's not go there. Flip it. However,
Show title? Truly a Sophie's choice if there ever was one.
when when he had to play the game for real of which one did he want to keep,
Yes.
even he said, you know, I think I'll keep the money.
Fair. That's fair. Okay.
Here's what I'm now realizing.
Uh-huh.
I thought this was going to be, we were going to make it a segment and this was going to go like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 weeks. And then we were going to run out of material. Now I'm starting to
No.
find out that there is actually way more material than we anticipated. And I don't know if that's making me happy to keep this thing alive or so sad that we're going to be able to talk about it. I also have one for next week. So we're good.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott Frost. Is that what's next?
Yes. Hey, this one's real quick because it just feels like it's the same repeat over and over again. However, the yet another internet service provider having some shenanigans. The Jefferson County Cable, a small ISP in Toronto, Ohio, was fined $10,000 by the Federal Communications Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the reason. They had to produce maps to the FCC to show where they offered broadband support so that other companies couldn't come into an area. And they said, here's where we provide broadband support. Therefore, don't allow this other company to come in. And so they said, oh, okay, sure. However, eventually, when the FCC went and looked at it, the ISP, they do provide broadband support. They just claimed on their map that they provided support in areas they had never run any fiber or any cable. They flat out lied, and they admitted that they lied. They submitted false coverage data specifically to stop other ISPs from obtaining government grants to serve the area. So, yes. The problem is, and this is, we keep bringing this up, this is an Ars Technica story, and it starts for saying, this may sound familiar because Comcast did this, and this company, this is a known thing that happens. By the way, the 10,000, they basically lied about covering 1,500 people. So they stopped 1,500 people from being able to get broadband. Understand, they weren't doing that so that they could serve them. They weren't serving them, weren't planning on serving them, just didn't want anybody else to serve them. Oh,
If I can't have it, nobody else can. Thanks.
Exactly. Pretty much. Wonder what their war room looks like. Okay, how about you? What'd you bring?
Had you chosen the bobblehead story 3 weeks ago, the fact that the fact that they recovered them in the last week, we would have put that under follow-up. So I'm not going to put that out there. But someone stole 18,000 Yamir Yager bobbleheads. Here's the thing. We're just going to do this anyway because they stole 18,000 Yamir Yager
identical Yarmir Yager bobbleheads.
Right. So there's two, as far as I can see, there's two options here. Either A, they intended to steal 18,000 identical Yamir Yager bobbleheads, at which point, what do you do with them? Or B, they intended to steal something else, open the truck, and oh my God. I'm not sure which one. It's one of those
18,000 bobbleheads were like, yeah, this is what you got. This is what you got.
Yep. Do you want to, can you get rid of them? No, you can't. Oh, yes.
Can you imagine that listing on eBay? For sale, up to 18,000 Yamir Yager bobbleheads. Totally not stolen.
Totally not. They fell off a truck. Hey, somebody said I could have these. Yeah, so that's what I brought. I'm not even giving you choices. That's just what we're going with tonight.
Okay. All right. That works. Yeah. You've been traveling this week. Any travel stories?
So last week, when I was in San Francisco, I showed you the picture of the Waymo car that was going by and complained about how I could not get in and ride one.
Yes.
We called for an Uber to take us to the airport on Saturday morning. Hop in the
Yes.
Uber, off we go. We're on our way going to the airport. On our way to the airport, we saw stopped in the middle of the street, parked with nobody in it, a Waymo car. I'm like, hey, my journey here is done. Time to go home.
Tick.
Yep, you can check that box. Uh-huh. Yep,
I believe Waymo now stands for way more work to be done.
that's
Uh,
uh-huh. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And then I'm in Irvine this week, or and headed back home, and hopefully no more travel stories this week. Really, really good meeting this week in Irvine with our team. This was a team meeting. It wasn't a event that I was putting on. So we had a good time. It was nice to get everybody together and got a lot of work done. So it was good.
Excellent. Excellent. Um, do you watch anything this week while you were on the road?
I watched Quiet on the Set per your recommendation.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tough
awfully.
watch.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yes. Awfully depressing. Yep. Highly recommend, particularly if you're of a certain age or had kids that were and remember those shows. Um, you kept saying Dan Schneider, yeah, this Dan Schneider, Dan. I'm like, I should know who this person is. And it wasn't until I watched the um, documentary that I realized, oh, this is the guy that was on Head of the Class.
Head of the class. Yes.
He was kind of a jerk then. I mean, maybe he was acting and
Oh, I
his
was going to say, I
character
mean,
was
was this
just a jerk,
character was, I mean, but
but maybe
yeah.
he wasn't acting a whole lot. That's what yeah, I don't know.
God, you're a
Uh,
natural. Yeah, you have no idea.
you have no idea. Rehearsal? I don't need rehearsal. And then I also watched uh, the part one of Dune, not the
Hmm.
one with um, from the 80s. I didn't watch that one.
Okay.
I watched the new one. Have you watched the new one yet?
No, have not.
Amy watched it. She really liked it. She wants to go see the new one that's out now, chapter two or volume two or whatever the heck they're calling it. And um, do you want to go? I haven't watched one yet, so I watched one on the plane. Oh, if you haven't caught one yet, there are a lot of things that are kind of similar to the other one. If you remember the other 4.5 hour Odyssey or whatever the heck it was with Kyle MacLachlan, it's pretty darn good. So we're gonna watch. I did not fall asleep,
Hmm.
so
Excellent.
so
Excellent.
there's that. So so that's what I got. How about you? What'd you watch? Anything?
Most of did watch the Formula One race Saturday night. And got to watch somebody other than Max Verstappen win a race, which was so exciting. Even at the end of the race, I'm like, this same person's been leading the race for almost the entire race, and yet it feels refreshing. Like,
Uh-huh.
anyway, there's that.
Breaks are difficult. Breaks are difficult.
That's a lot of fire coming out of that car in a really weird place. Um, yeah, yeah. The other thing we've been watching on YouTube, because we watch a lot of YouTube, there's a the channel called Jolly, and it's two guys in England, and it's a food channel, and they're pretty personable. We first started watching, we're like, these guys are kind of I don't know. Then you're like, no, actually, that's who they seem to be, and it's very entertaining, and they've been around for quite a while. So we've watched quite a bit of it. One of the segments they've done is they like come to the U.S. and try U.S. food for the first time and tell you what it is. But they also go through Britain and they'll do all sorts of stuff. They go to Michelin star restaurants, but then they also bring they bring American food to British high school and have people try it, including like we bring like American soft drinks, and
Oh Lord.
you get things like that's not a natural color. Like there's a lot of funny stuff in there. Most of them are pointing out, even high school students are like, I can only taste the sugar. Why would anybody do that? Do people in America actually, or are you just joking us? It's very funny to watch people react, and you're like, you forget how much sugar is in all of our stuff, even the non-sugary stuff. Um, anyway, jolly, especially if you look at British high school stuff. It's pretty good.
So if anybody's watching on YouTube, I had to change locations because the gate that I was recording at decided to start loading passengers. So that's not what I learned, but I did learn to pick a better spot.
What did you actually learn this week?
So when we were in San Francisco, Lucas and I, we on Friday night after his conference was done and before we passed the Waymo on Saturday morning, we got on a ferry and went out and toured Alcatraz at night in the
Mm,
rain.
sweet.
Yeah, it was really awesome. If you're in San Francisco and you have the opportunity to do this, it's a national park. The audio tour, it's a kind of a self-guided audio tour, self-paced audio tour, but you put the headset on and they interviewed four guards and six inmates, and they put together all of this audio from these interviews into this walking tour. The narrator then, okay, so now you're looking down Broadway, and okay, when you make a right here, then you step into the dining hall, and then there's a couple of stories from inmates or the guards about the dining. I mean, it is really, really well done. Have you done this tour?
Um, I've done the tour of Alcatraz probably 15, 16 years ago. Yeah.
It may be the same tour. It may be the same audio. Who knows? But it was fun. We had a good we fun. I don't know if it was fun. We were wet and it was raining. Um, but it was very, very interesting. So I learned a ton about Alcatraz this week.
Cool. Look at that. Um,
Yeah.
Lindsay desperately wanted to see Alcatraz and take the tour. And when we were on a cruise up the Pacific coast with her, we docked in San Francisco for the day, and we were planning on going, and we already had tickets and everything. And that was when one of the first federal government shutdowns took place. And so the ferry company would take us, but there was no way to land on a national park. So everything was canceled. And Lindsay, in a teenage years, was like, "How does the federal government shut down? I don't. What do you mean? What do you mean the government shut down?" And I'm like, "Well, little did I know that she would get to learn that lesson over and over and over again."
Oh, oh joy. Don't don't play the giggle. You have the power.
Not going to. Not going
Don't
to.
do it. Don't do it. Hi, Lindsay.
So,
How about you? What'd you learn?
yeah. So the thing I learned this week is finally we've got the solar panels on the roof. We got the batteries. We got the thing that figures out where the power all goes. We've got the car charger now that is smart enough to tie into the whole system. And we now have an electric car. And I finally been charging it during the afternoons and then watching on my app. And originally I thought it wasn't working because at any given point, it is, even though we have plenty of solar, it's pulling from the grid a little bit, or our batteries are going down during the whole thing is just weird. And eventually what I realized was this thing on second by second basis is literally managing. If a cloud goes over, instead of ramping down the car charging, it pulls a little bit from the grid to keep it up. And then if the sun comes back up, it stops it. If the sun doesn't come back up, it'll slow the car charging down. So this is making multiple changes per second to keep everything in check. What is incredibly cool is I'm watching all of this on my phone and I'm like, what am I even seeing? And then I'm like, oh, I understand what's going. Holy cow, this system's even more amazing than I realized. And then I was thinking like one, this is yet, I've now made my app even more expensive, right? Because basically I'm watching my app. However, what I've also realized is I'm excited. I'm telling Lisa, I'm telling some people at work or whatever. But if you go to the web page for like the car charger and it explains how all this works, it doesn't explain all that because I did all this research. What it basically says is you don't need to worry about any of this. It just figures it out. So actually, I guess the sales pitch for most people is you don't have to worry about it. It just works. And for people like me, you're like, what's it doing? What's it doing now? That's amazing. And I'm thinking, I think they figured out how to market this, because otherwise the app could just pop up. What are you looking at, dude? We got this. Anyway, what I've learned is I'm spending way too much time in the app.
The music is Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. You can subscribe to our award-winning podcast with visiting solar expert Todd Prinz. Wherever you get your pods, just search Talking and the number 2. There's no G and no space. You can check out our award-winning merch on Zazzle. You can stop by and see us at the Tuba City home office. Please don't do that. You can also compete with the overhead announcements in the Denver airport. I wouldn't recommend doing that either. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors, Toddler 3187, the Taylor Center for Technology Policy, and DJ to Go Cedar Valley. You're a 5-star DJ in the Cedar Valley, I guess. I don't know. He keeps saying it. I don't know whether I believe it or not. Anywho, yeah, send us your feedback, just like Yvonne did, to feedback@talkingtotodd.com. Todd?
You said you're touring Alcatraz at night and it's raining. It's a good thing that you didn't buy the fully immersive experience, because when you get back out after the end of that, you're like, man, that was amazing, but I'm not sure why it cost extra. Oh, this is fully immersive. Now swim back.
Right.
Wait, what? No, no, no. You paid for it. Get going.
So there were people that bought ponchos on site. They were prison striped ponchos, and on the back they said property of Federal Bureau of Prisons, Alcatraz Division swim team. Yep. And the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, Bureau of Prisons, property of, blah, blah, blah. Haha, that's funny. And I missed the swim team until they stood up, and I'm like, oh, now that's funny. Yeah, that's.
We got a lot of people signing up, not a lot of people finishing the race.
Oh, anyway, we'll have more next week. We'll be back. We'll be here. We are talking to Todd.
So you're saying the guy with the Nazi collection kept his war room in his hotel that he called the Imperial Palace. Yeah, that checks.
Source of all truth and knowledge.